New videos every day.
So Valentine's Day is coming up soon. And have you ever wondered where Valentine's Day started? Was Saint Valentine a real person? And what does he have to do with love? Is Valentine's Day a true Catholic holiday? Or does it have its roots elsewhere in ancient pagan rituals? Well, that's what we're going to go over today. So let's talk a little bit about Saint Valentine. Now, if we go back to the Roman times, the name Valentine was actually a very common name. There were literally 11 different men named Valentine that the Catholic Church declared as saints. So there were 11 different Saint Valentines. Now, of these 11 men, 3 of them were actually acknowledged as becoming saints on February 14th. So there were literally 3 Saint Valentines that are associated with February 14th. Now, the funny thing about these 3 Saint Valentines that are associated with Valentine's Day is that there really isn't a whole lot of information out there about them. We know that all 3 of them were martyrs, of course, which means they gave up their life or died for their religious beliefs. We know that one was from Rome, one was from a place called Tournai, and the other one was from Africa. Other than that, we don't know a whole lot about these 3 illustrious Saint Valentines. Now, believe it or not, there is actually no historical data to associate Saint Valentine to love and romance. The Catholic Church did throw a feast, a celebration on February 14th in honor of Saint Valentine, but it didn't have any association with love or romance, hearts and cupids. So you might ask yourself, where did that get started? Why do we associate February 14th with love? Well, that is pretty interesting. Now, I do want to mention that there is a legend associated with Saint Valentine of Rome. It says that in the 3rd century Rome, there was an emperor, Claudius II, who outlawed marriage completely for young men. He thought that young single men made better soldiers than those with wives and children, so he outlawed it completely. Saint Valentine heard this decree and defied him by continuing to perform marriages in secret. When he was discovered by Claudius, he was put to death. Now, I do want to point out that this is a legend, and it probably doesn't have a whole lot of historical truth to it. So, once again, why is February 14th associated with love? Ancient pagan rituals. Now, there was an official Roman holiday thrown in the middle of February called Lupercalia. This was a fertility festival dedicated to Faunus, the god of agriculture. Now, Faunus is where we get fawn or little deer, which is actually the Greek equivalent is Pan, that little horny goat god. This festival was also to honor the founders of Rome, Romulus and Remus. Now, at this festival of Lupercalia, a couple of interesting things went on. First of all, the priests would all congregate at the mouth of the sacred cave, where they believed that Romulus and Remus, the founders of Rome, were raised by a she-wolf. Now, they would come together and they would sacrifice a goat for fertility and a dog for purification. Then, the boys of the town would take this goat and strip it into hides. It was almost as if they were making like a whip out of goat hide. And they would dip these little whips into the sacrificial blood. And then they would run about the town, slapping women with these bloody whips, slapping the crops, slapping everything that needed to be fertile, needed to grow. Now, that doesn't really sound too much like a celebration or a festival to me, but these women actually welcomed it. They believed that if they were touched with the blood, they would be fertile for a year. The same with the crops. If they touched the crops with the blood, they believed that they would grow. But the fun didn't stop there. Despite being slapped by these bloody goat skins in the street, there was also something called the lottery. This is where all of the young single women would come together and write their names down on a piece of paper and put them all collectively into this lottery urn. Then, the bachelor men of the town would come along and pick a name at random. Now, this name that they chose was supposed to be their mate for a year. They were supposed to come together and court for an entire year. Now, believe it or not, it was not uncommon for these pairings to end up in marriage. Now, it's not uncommon for our Christian holidays today to have pagan origins. Take Christmas and Easter, for example. Christmas was celebrated by the pagans as the winter solstice. The spring equinox was Easter originally. So the Christian church, and as Christianity started to become a little more popular, the Christian church decided to do something about these pagan holidays because there were all these people still celebrating them. So they would take the winter solstice and they would change it. They would add an element and make it Christmas, the birth of Christ. They would take the spring equinox and they would make it the resurrection of Christ, changing it into Easter. So this is how the Christian church decided to change it from pagan holidays to Christian holidays. And Saint Valentine's Day is no exception. In 496 AD, Pope Gelasius I outlawed the festival of Lupercalia, saying it was a pagan ritual that needed to be changed. So he changed it to the day of Saint Valentine, making it a day of feasting in honor of the Saint Valentine. So this change actually made it from a pagan holiday into an official Catholic holiday. Now, once the festival of Lupercalia was changed from being a pagan holiday to being an official Catholic holiday, the association with love and romance that came from the lottery kind of started to trickle away. Now, the feast was still there, which happened to last for years and years afterwards, but the romantic aspect of it kind of disappeared. But it didn't disappear completely. In the Middle Ages, there were all these superstitions that started to arise around the middle of February, around Saint Valentine's Day. A woman, for instance, would believe that if she saw a robin fly overhead, that she would marry a sailor. If she saw a sparrow, she would marry a poor man, but she would be very happy. And if she wanted to marry a rich man, she would have to see a golden finch fly overhead. Now, they also believed that on this day of St. Valentine's, whenever they woke up in the morning, the very first unmarried person of the opposite sex that they saw, they believed that that person would become their spouse. Now, in the medieval times, there was another kind of ritual that young girls kind of performed. They would eat unusual foods and spend all day daydreaming about their future husband in order to ensure that they would find a good husband and get married. Now, if we speed the clocks up a little bit, maybe about 1,000 years, up to about the 1400s, this is when the ritual of exchanging little notes and presents to the one that you are kind of enamored of, that's where this started to become popular. So if you liked somebody, you had a crush on them, you would give them a flower or a cookie or a little handwritten love poem, and they would keep these tokens. And that's where this started. But the modern Valentine didn't show up until the year 1840 with a woman named Esther Holland. Now, she was the mother of modern commercialized Valentine's Day cards. She was the very first to make a commercialized Valentine's Day card. And they were really elaborate. She would put real lace and ribbons with pretty pictures in them, and she would sell them. So this is the beginning of the modern commercialized Valentine's Day cards. Now here's just a couple fun trivia facts about Valentine's Day. First of all, there is an estimated 1 billion Valentine's Day cards sent out every year, making Valentine's Day the second largest card sending holiday behind Christmas. Another fun fact is that 85% of all Valentines are purchased by women, which I personally think is quite sad, because I think the boys should be the ones that are romancing the girls. Alright, so there we are. In future videos, in lieu of Valentine's Day, I'm going to be doing a video on kissing. Can someone really be a kissing artist? How good can a kiss actually be, and can you master that art of kissing? Also, since we've been talking about love and love spells, we're going to be doing a video on magic. What is magic exactly? And does it always have to be supernatural? Thank you so much for watching. Please rate my video and happy Valentine's Day.
If you liked this video, we have hundreds of more alternative videos ranging from sexual health to psychology to mind control. So if you liked it, go ahead and click on me to enter the Psychetruth channel.